ever heard the phrase perception is reality? We hear it often, but have you ever stopped to really think about what it means? Today, we're going to break down how what you perceive might not always be the truth, and how moving from perception to perspective can change everything. So your perception is shaped by your experiences, your background, even your emotions. It's like looking at the world through a filter. We think our view is the reality because it's the only one we've experienced. But here's the thing. Our perception is only our reality. It doesn't necessarily represent the bigger picture. Let me give you an example. I used to believe that anyone driving an old, rundown car was struggling financially. But I learned that sometimes those people are actually making smart financial choices that I never really imagined. They might be using the extra cash to invest in their future rather than buying a flashy car. See, our brains are wired to fill in the gaps. If we don't have all the information, we assume what's missing based on our past experiences. And this is where perception can trip us up. We make judgments based on incomplete data, and our brain fills in those gaps. But what if those blanks are wrong? That's why it's crucial to realize that perception is just a starting point. It's not the whole story. So how do we get from perception to perspective? It starts with realizing that other people's realities are just as valid as our own. Imagine stepping outside and asking yourself, what's the bigger picture here? What's their side of the story? Perspective allows us to gather more information, see things through a broader lens, and ultimately make better decisions. This shift from perception to perspective can free us from limiting beliefs. It opens us up to new opportunities and allows us to see the world as it truly is, not just how we think it is. See, when you let go of the beliefs that your perception is the only reality, you allow yourself to grow. You open up to new ideas, new ways of thinking, and new ways of living. It's like running a race, but instead of competing against everyone else, you're just competing against yourself, pushing yourself to grow and see things differently. I heard a great phrase recently, care enough to be unreasonable. In life, in business, care enough to go the extra mile, even when it doesn't make immediate sense. Imagine being in a situation when you're doing business with someone, and instead of pushing them to close the deal, you care enough to say, this might not be the right fit for you. They're going to remember that. It's about empathy. It's about perspective. And in the long run, that mindset will bring you more success than you ever thought possible. We like to think that we're self-aware, right? Most studies show that less than 10% of people are actually truly self-aware. That means most of us are walking around with blind spots, unaware how our own behavior affects others. If we take a moment to ask ourselves, or even better yet, ask someone close to us, how do I come across? What might I be missing? We can shift our perception to one that's accurate perspective. And that change is where real growth happens. So how do you go from perception to perspective? It's simple, but it's not easy. It takes awareness, empathy, and willingness to ask yourself tough questions. But once you start, you'll see the world in a whole new light. You'll find that most of the time, the biggest opportunities come not from changing others, but from changing how we see the world. So today, I'm challenging you. Step back, shift your perspective, and see what new opportunities open up for you.